Looking now at the individual maps, once you click into a nation, you will see the map associated with that nation. To make it easier to see, I will now enter full screen mode by clicking this button on the bottom right-hand side of the map. Now that I have entered full screen mode, you can now see the entire mapping dashboard. The maps will expand to fill the entire screen. Please utilise full screen mode if you also want to be able to see more rows of the table underneath the maps. To exit full screen mode, you simply need to click this button down here in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. Alternatively, you can click Escape on your keyboard. Looking at the dashboard, there are 7 distinct elements. There is the interactive map here, there is a table displaying all the geographical area types, the UK-wide and country-specific CISA decile, and the CISA proportion. Please note that the expanding box beneath the maps offers further details on why we have supplied both a UK-wide and country-specific CISA decile, as well as how to determine which variable may be most appropriate for your analysis. There is a colour legend for the map based on the UK-wide CISA decile, a filter for the UK-wide CISA decile, a filter for the country-specific CISA decile, a region filter, and a free text search tool. The colour legend shows the colours utilised in the interactive maps. The colour legend used for the maps is one colour that changes sequentially from dark to light. The darkest blue represents decile 1, the most deprived decile at a UK-wide level. That is, IPA areas located in decile 1 are within the 10% most deprived areas across the UK, according to our measure. Meanwhile, the lightest blue represents decile 10, the least deprived decile at a UK-wide level. To ensure that our maps are accessible, we have used a single blue colour throughout our designs. There may be instances where it is more difficult to differentiate between IPA areas using the colour scheme. For example, when a filter is applied. In this scenario, we recommend utilising the tooltip to assist with determining which decile an area falls into. The maps also feature a filter for the CISA decile at a UK-wide level. This will allow you to filter the map to only show certain deciles. Currently, the map is displaying all 10 deciles. However, if we only wanted to see the bottom 2 deciles, we can drag the filter in from the right, which will filter the map to only show the bottom 2 deciles. That is, we are restricting the maps to show only those IPA areas that fall within the 20% most deprived areas across the UK. You can also drag the filter from the left if you only wish to see the higher deciles. Restricting to the deciles of interest may make it easier to view larger areas of the map. The maps also feature a filter for the CISA decile at a country-specific level. This will allow you to filter the map to only show certain deciles. Currently, the map is displaying all 10 deciles. However, if we only wanted to see the bottom 2 deciles, we can drag the filter in from the right, which will filter the map to only show the bottom 2 deciles. That is, we are restricting the maps to show only those IPA areas that fall within the 20% most deprived areas across England. You can also drag the filter from the left if you only wish to see the higher deciles. Restricting to the deciles of interest may make it easier to view larger areas of the map. The region filter allows users to filter the maps to show one or more regions. In order to filter, click on the drop-down. Then select the areas you wish to see. Once you have completed your selection, click Apply, and the map should then display these areas. The more regions you select, the more data you are asking the maps to load, and therefore the slower they will respond. It is for this reason that when entering the maps for the first time, the default selection is a small area of the country, so that the maps load at a faster speed. There is also a free text search field, which allows users to search for specific geographic areas. In this, you can search for either local authorities, middle super output areas, lower super output areas, output area codes, or postcodes. It should be noted that postcodes can be entered either with or without a space. All geographies can be searched by their name or code, except for output area, which only has a code. Please note that you cannot search for regions using the search field. To do this, please use the filter option provided. For more information on how the map filters can impact the search function, please refer to the troubleshooting section of this video. The table on the screen illustrates a list of valid search entries. This information is also provided in the expanding box at the bottom of the page, alongside an indicative list of invalid entries. An invalid entry will result in a blank error screen. For more information on how to return from a blank error screen, as well as examples of invalid entries, please refer to the troubleshooting section of this video. For example, currently the map only displays the southwest region. However, if we were to search for Bristol by typing into the free text search and clicking Enter, it will automatically display all output areas in the Bristol local authority. Please note, there will be occasions where your free text search is identified as existing in multiple locations across the country, resulting in your map not zooming in as expected or multiple areas being displayed on the map. Please refer to the troubleshooting section to learn how to resolve this. If we look at the interactive maps themselves, we will now take you through some of the tools you can use to interact with the map. Whenever you interact with the map, you will notice a small menu appears on the top left-hand corner of the maps. The plus and minus buttons will operate as a zoom function. So the plus will zoom in and the minus will zoom out. These will zoom at set stepped intervals. If you want greater control over the zoom feature, you can use the scroll button on your mouse to zoom in and out. Alternatively, if you're exploring the maps and have gone too far away from what you want to look at, you can press this little house icon, which is a zoom home button. This will automatically default the map back to the last search area. The black arrow will expand to give you access to a number of different tools. The rectangle with a magnifying glass allows you to select an area that you wish to zoom into. So you can click and drag over the map as shown, and it will automatically zoom the map into that area. Then we have the 4 directional arrows or a cross with arrowheads. This is the pan button. When you click on this, it will allow you to move the map about by clicking and dragging. Once again, you can click on the Zoom Home button to revert the map back to the default view. Please note, if you use the pan tool on the maps, we recommend resetting the maps before using the search function, as otherwise the maps may not automatically zoom to your next search area. The next tool over is the rectangle. Users can click and drag to select a rectangular area that they wish to be displayed. To remove this filter, simply click on any area of the map that does not have any output areas displayed. Similarly, the button to the right of that is the radial button. This button allows you to select a circular area with a radius in miles. As you can see, this displays all output areas held within this radius. So, for example, you can see here that we have chosen a circular area with a radius of 1 mile. To remove this filter, simply click on any area of the map that does not have any output areas displayed. Then, the final tool is a lasso tool. This allows you to create a custom area to select. You click and hold. This will allow you to drag the boundary of the area to select. To complete the shape, reconnect your line to the original starting point. To remove this filter, simply click on any area of the map that does not have any output areas displayed. When you hover over any output area on the map, a tooltip will appear. This tooltip will show the local authority, the output area code, and both the UK-wide and country-specific CISA decile of that output area. This tooltip can help users with identifying the UK-wide and country-specific CISA decile of each output area. Below the maps, you can see a table that contains all the information for all of the geographic area types. It contains data on local authorities, middle super output areas, lower super output areas, and output areas. It also contains information on the CISA proportion, as well as both the UK-wide and country-specific CISA decile. The decile represents which decile the output area falls into in our measure, either at a UK-wide or country-specific level, and this can range from 1 to 10, where 1 represents the most deprived decile. The CISA proportion is the value from which the deciles are calculated. The table underneath the maps does not contain any information regarding other area-based measures such as the indices of deprivation. This is due to their inclusion having an adverse impact on the loading speed of the maps. For those who would like to use other area-based measures such as indices of deprivation alongside CISA as part of their research and analysis, we have provided an Excel file containing the variables we use to generate our technical report in the download section of the web page. Further information on this can also be found in section 16 of our summary page. You can also use this table to filter the interactive map. For example, if I select this middle super output area, it will restrict the map to this area. To remove this filter, you simply need to click the middle super output area for a second time. As we have illustrated, when utilising the maps, the table underneath will display the associated geography and CISA deciles, alongside other contextual information such as the CISA proportion. If you wish to download this as a CSV file, you can do this using Tableau. In order to download the data from the map, you must first exit full screen mode. Then click on the icon that is second from the right at the bottom of the screen, a rectangle with a downwards arrow. Then click Data. This will open a pop-up screen that will allow you to view and download the data and to enable you to undertake any onward analysis using the CSV it provides. Note that if you restrict the map using the table, map, search bar or filters, it will restrict the data download accordingly. Alternatively, if the maps do not allow you to select data, you can click on each of the variables of interest whilst holding the Control key, such as a UK-wide and country-specific CISA decile, as well as a CISA proportion. A pop-up will appear, and on the far right-hand side there will be an icon that looks like a series of horizontal lines, which will allow you to view the data. Once you click this, another dialog box will open with the selected data, and you can then click the Download button on the top right to download a CSV file of the data excerpt. This section will walk you through some common issues with the maps and how to rectify them. If you have selected a filter or utilised a search function and the map has not defaulted to the area searched, try clicking on the house icon, which will reset the zoom. The map should then zoom to the area searched. This issue tends to appear when you've used one of the map tools, such as the Pan tool, to explore the map without resetting the maps with the Zoom Home button after. The tools and filters that can be used with the maps only allow you to restrict the view of the maps. That being, you can only shrink the number of output areas you are viewing. You cannot increase them. If you wish to view a larger area, please utilise the Region drop-down to firstly select additional areas. You can then use the tools to restrict this larger area. There are several reasons the maps may take a few seconds to load. The main reason will often be that you are attempting to load a large number of areas. The more data you are trying to load, the slower the maps will be. For example, if you try to load the whole of England, this will take longer to load than if you are trying to load one middle super output area. Your internet connection will also impact the speed of loading. The faster the connection, the faster the maps will load. As stated earlier, there will be occasions where your free text search is identified as existing in multiple locations across the country, resulting in your map not zooming in as expected. For example, London. This is because there are likely to be numerous areas across different parts of the country which feature the word you entered in the free text search field within their name. The search tool searches for the word, so if more than one place has that word in its title, multiple localities will be returned. This will be the reason why the map may not zoom into the area you expected. At this point, you should use the table beneath the maps to restrict to the local authority or other geography of interest. For example, if I select this local authority, it will restrict the map to this area. To remove this filter, you simply need to click the local authority for a second time. For some output areas near the coastline, you may notice that the boundaries appear to extend into the water. This is due to the type of boundary file we use to create the maps, which are called shapefiles. The shapefiles that we use for our maps are extent of the realm. This means that for the boundaries of the output areas that are along the coast, the boundary line is drawn at the mean low watermark. It is for this reason that some output areas appear to extend into the water. If you use the search function and you receive a blank screen, this means that you have searched for an invalid item. Please check that you've spelled the area correctly with no leading or trailing white spaces. Otherwise, please check that you've searched for an accepted type of geography. For example, if you search for a university name, you will receive a blank screen as this is not an accepted search item. Examples of invalid entries are provided in the table on your screen now. Though please note that this is not an exhaustive list. Please also note that there may be instances where searching for an invalid geography type may still lead to a valid search emerging. This will have occurred in instances where the name you have searched for overlaps with an accepted geography type. On such occasions, we would recommend checking that the area that has appeared does align with your expectations. For information on the accepted search items, please refer to the section on what can be searched for. If you have searched for a valid geography and received a blank error screen, please first check that you have spelled the area correctly with no leading or trailing white spaces. If that is all correct, it may be due to the filters that you've applied to the maps. When you apply filters to the maps, it restricts the maps as well as the underlying dataset. Depending on what filters you have applied, you may receive a blank screen after searching for a valid search item. For example, if the region filter is set to the southwest, and you search for the Leeds local authority, you will receive an error screen. This is because Leeds does not appear in the restricted dataset for the southwest. You will need to expand the region filter to include the area you are trying to search for. If you encounter an error screen, first check that it is a valid search term, and then check if the spelling is correct with no white spaces. Finally, check that the restrictions you have applied, through the use of the filters and map tools, do not exclude the area you wish to search for. If you have used the map tools to restrict the maps, please click on an area of the maps that does not have any output areas in the blue shade. This will undo the restriction and remove the filter from the data. After this, please click the Zoom Home button to ensure the maps are properly reset. If you have used the table of data underneath the maps to filter or restrict the maps, please click on the geography for a second time to remove the filter or restriction. For example, if you select a Middle Super output area to filter or restrict the maps, please select that same Middle Super output area for a second time to remove the filter. Once again, please click the Zoom Home button after to ensure the maps are properly reset.